I can share.
Yep.
All right, has everybody had a chance to review the minutes of May 10th? And if so, I entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion
I was not present, so. I'll second.
and a second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Other business. Is that
So for the first item for traffic counts, so Aria, if you want to go ahead and talk about those.
Okay, so unfortunately I can't display it for you on the screen. My IT department won't let me connect here, so, but I can tell you, and I emailed out the packet, so, let me find that here. So I sent out a spreadsheet with all the count data, ordered by the station IDs, and I included the annual average daily traffic, the AADT, both overall and for just truck traffic specifically, as columns there. And I also this time also did some analysis on peak volumes, the peak hour when those volumes occurred, and the 85th percentile of speed, which is often used for determining speed limits and stuff. So, although irrelevant, it gives you a sense of how fast most people are traveling on that road. And then the final column I included was the percentage of truck traffic out of all traffic, which truck traffic's been a discussion point for us for a while here, so I figured that'd be relevant as well to include. I don't know if I had anything I wanted to point out in particular. There were a couple stations on Armory Road that we were going to do by the school. So those are here. Those are stations 2048 and 2049. You can see the truck traffic is very low at 8% and 6% for those two stations, which is great. And the 85th percentile of speed for both of those was 28.1 miles per hour and 25.1 miles per hour.
You want to give that to him, or should I? I'll let you deal with that.
I know exactly.
There it is, right there. Okay. Oh, goodness.
Yeah, so yeah, these 85th percentiles of speed, these do not include, this is like an average, right?
Correct.
The majority of people. There are people going way above this.
Yes.
But this is what most people are doing, so. I guess if you want, I can give you the full data on the spreads of speed there so you can see just how far above people are going.
You can have the
Yeah. When was this pulled? I know the times, but what was the dates?
The dates I didn't put on the spreadsheet, but the Army Road counts were the very first batch we did. I think it was before the school year let out.
Okay,
It
perfect.
was,
That's what we.
I think in month
yeah.
5 or something. I have to
not
check.
traffic, I would say.
So, yeah, and you can see the peak hour time for those is 7 to 8 a.m. and yeah, 3 to 4 p.m., which is very common of a lot of peak hours. You'll see it's similar to a lot of places too, but anyway.
That correlates to school.
Dismissing.
So I guess if you have any particular questions about individual locations, I'm happy to answer those. Otherwise, the data is there for you to look at.
Thank you.
So.
Did you get all the counts that you put out, or did some?
Yes, yeah, so we do 65 counts each year, and this year we collected 65 counts, so we got all of them. And applause to our contractor, there were no recounts this year, they were all perfect on the first try,
Wow.
so that's great. So,
And usually you have cut tubes and.
yeah, or loose tubes, but yeah, they were all good. So a couple of them, the speed data didn't quite come through, but it was just a couple, and that wasn't a big deal, so. I didn't see a need to recount for those. They were not in locations where we cared about the speed, I thought, so. Wasn't worth an extra week of counting. All right, I think that's all I got.
So I did just kind of want to add on just a little bit to what Aria said. So for some of these traffic count stations, I'd encourage you all to look over those, and if there's any you want more data on, just, contact us and we'll get you that information. And kind of one other thing to think about a little more long-term would be traffic counts for next year. Now we do kind of, at our first quarterly meeting each year, we will kind of try to set those up. But there are some times when just using a rotation, which is kind of our typical method, is okay, but it doesn't necessarily capture maybe the most current issues. So you might want to think if there are some particular areas of concern that you've heard about, just living up here and working up here, that we might want to dig into a little bit. And then we would also want to maybe know if those concerns were, related to the percentage of trucks or the speed or what type of concern there is, so we make sure that we really do get data that addresses the concern.
Do you have a list of the next upcoming counts?
I have not prepared that yet, no.
Because then we could look at what's coming up as far as detours, and make sure that we're not affecting those or being affected by them.
Aaron, did you want 200 north on the other side of Armory? If Q out, or is that?
No, that's, most of that's county.
That's most
Right.
county,
Yeah.
Thought the mayor mentioned that one at a prior meeting for possibilities of development in that area.
Isn't there development going on in the north side?
They're working on it. It's in preliminary
I don't think it's
discussions.
gonna be anytime within,
Yeah.
so the traffic, we got plenty of time to do counts if so needed, but nothing, I don't think it's needed immediately.
Aren't they talking first base is gonna be on the other side?
Yeah.
Closer to Riley Meadows.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
What about Prince William? That's probably not gonna change a whole lot until
I don't think that'll
development
change a
anyway.
whole lot until.
Until we get
development
going
actually
with it.
starts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one thing we can do is we can do a before and after sort of count for those types of locations. So if that is something you're interested in, we can definitely consider that. We do tend to send out the list kind of around the end of the year so that you have a little bit of time to review it before the January meeting.
You guys do the KFO counts on a completely separate from this, don't you? Is it on a 3-year cycle or 4?
So we did those kind of as a special project.
Okay.
Now they are stations that we can recount, at any time if that's desired,
I
but
don't think it's needed. It was the first thing I looked at when I took this job, so I wasn't sure if it was. Yeah. I quickly set it to the side.
I'm really looking at those.
I looked at it, but I knew the story behind them, and it wasn't the first thing I was gonna tackle. Thank you guys for doing this.
Anything else on the counts that you questions about?
I know.
Okay. Next item.
okay, so our next item is the Rural Long-Range Transportation Plan. So this is something that we're kind of continuing to work on. So I know some of you have been involved in a few different meetings for that. So kind of currently, the next big issue that we're looking to tackle is the truck route through downtown Delphi. And we know that that is going to kind of be an effort that's going to take some coordination and some specific meetings that are targeted just to discuss that. So we've had some email conversation about who all the stakeholders and the players are that we need to get together for some of these meetings. So we're still working on setting those up. So continue to be on the lookout for those. That's kind of, I think, our next big step to tackle is going to be how we want to approach that. And I think what we may be looking at is kind of some short-term solutions in terms of, enforcement, or maybe if there would be some maintenance we could do that might encourage a a route that trucks could take that would get them around downtown Delphi and improve some of the roads around the perimeter. And then we might be also looking, I think, at a longer term solution, which would probably be construction of a new route. Obviously, that does become more complicated, and there are a lot of factors in play when you're trying to build a new road, as you guys are all familiar with, I'm sure. But I will mention that it does help to kind of have some of those things planned out and in a verified and approved document, so that, you know, if and when funding becomes available for that sort of project, that you can point to the fact that this process has already been started. So I think that's kind of where we're looking, is seeing if there is a short-term solution and if there is a long-term solution. So I think that's going to kind of be the general approach. Like I said, be on the lookout for more information.
I said short-term getting 421, 1839 out of downtown. That's where the majority of trucks are. So we can get that around to the 20, 25. That would probably be the best. So you're going to look at Delphi, Carroll County, NDOT definitely, and Tipton probably.
So that's kind of the next big thing. I don't have too much else directly for that unless there are any questions or comments.
I guess the only comment I would have is I believe the mayor reached out to you in regards to USA. So that's probably had some dialogue on that, sit down with them and see what their needs are.
Yeah, she gave me a contact person for U.S. Aggregates, yeah. So we're definitely going to be reaching out to that person.
Anything else on the transportation plan? Not. Item C, the grant.
So this item is really more something we're probably going to have to discuss at the next meeting with the administrative committee, but I wanted to make you all aware of it. So what this is the Serp Grant is kind of what pays for our services for you. So it's something that you guys, pay 20% of the cost, and NDOT pays 80% of the cost. And that's how our work is funded. So every year we put together a proposal for this. And for the last several years, it's kind of been a pretty static amount. But, if we are looking to really ramp up work on the rural long-range transportation plan, as well as maybe start to resupply our traffic counting inventory, then we might be looking at raising the cost a little bit. So, I want to be transparent about that before, we submit an application that's out of bounds. So I just wanted to let you guys know that that is something that maybe coming down the line before we would, be asking for a much larger grant amount. We would definitely be running that by the local elected officials and making sure that there would be available budget to pay the match. We wouldn't want to put you guys on the hook for more than we should be.
Does each entity pay into that, or does the commissioners pay it, or does Camden, Florida, Delphi, or each of them split it up to 20%? Is that how that's done in the past?
That's a very good question. I don't actually know where the match comes from. That's
Okay.
something that's handled on the back end. So I only know about the front end grant
Sure.
application part of it.
Okay, I'm just curious.
So that's a very good question.
I would think that a lot of it comes out of my budget. I don't know.
Well, you can pay all you want.
Oh, no. So will you fill out that paperwork or?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So that's all that I had for that. Again, just wanted to make you aware and be transparent about what's going on with that. So unless there are any questions, we can move on to the next item. Okay, so the November meeting date schedule. So Ari, did you kind of want to talk us through this one?
Yeah, so the November meeting is on November 8th, I believe, which is election day. I don't know if all y'all have a holiday on that day, or if you, prefer to not be at this meeting on that particular day. We could reschedule it. I was thinking to the next Tuesday, so that'd be the 3rd Tuesday of the month, I think, instead of the 2nd Tuesday.
That would work.
All right, so we'll pencil that in. We'll make sure that hopefully admin is also on the same day, which makes it convenient for us, but I'll send it on email once we get an agreement on that date. All right.
So then that brings us to our next item, which is the 18-month letting list. This was distributed in the packet. So we are kind of in the season where we don't tend to get too many new lettings. So a lot of our next upcoming lettings won't be happening until, well, I guess we actually are starting to get someone on the 10th of this month. We are in August now.
Yeah.
Kind of caught me a little bit by surprise, but yeah, so we will start to see some lettings on August 10th. We have several lettings for some bridge projects. And then we do, after that, have a bit of a break until December, where we have some more bridge projects, these ones being on State Road 75. After that, all the lettings on this list are in 2023 and beyond. So there was one project that had previously been listed that is not listed anymore, it looks like, and that would be near the bottom of the first page, the project on US 421, a small structure maintenance and repair project. I'm not quite sure why that would have dropped off. Maybe that would be something that is become part of a bundle, or if it's being reprogrammed or what, or if the letting date got moved. That would be a question for NDOT reps, and unfortunately no one from NDOT is here. That's what's going on with that. Other than that, we do have a change in the letting date. We had a small structure maintenance and repair project on State Road 25 that moved. I think it was going to be one of those ones on this August 10th set of lettings, but it moved back to 2023. So that's on the top of the second page there. And then the rest of the projects, we have several new projects that are just appearing on the letting list, kind of on the very edge of the 18-month time frame. And those will be in October. And those are all also on State Road 25. So that's what I have to report on that. Are there any specific questions?
I think a lot of those are on old 25, not new 25.
Yes. Yeah, on the description, unfortunately, the way the system works, it doesn't distinguish very well between those two roads, so you do kind of have to read the description a little bit to infer there, yes. That's a good point, thank you.
Hopefully our major thoroughfares are opened soon. Any questions on the 18-month letting list? Any other items for business?
I just have one, and it was something that we don't have to go too far into it, but in the future for one of the meetings we have, and I spoke with you via email about it several times, and of course, throughout the process, I was busy and didn't get to get back with you, but at some point, if we ever have a year like this that we've had in Carroll County with 17 projects all coming at us at one time, I would ask that we have a chance to speak with NDOT on detours, because they hit they hit Carroll with one that the contractor was emailing me, asking me to spread it out to the world. And I go, so you're saying nobody knows about this? He says, no. So I sent to Ken, and of course we got it out there, but what is affecting the schools? Carroll had to reroute their entire bus route and stuff like that.
They got a little bit about their detour.
Yeah.
Because it was affecting their detour.
And then we have people coming from 26 onto the 421 detour. Now 421's closed. Now we have semis up in Riley Meadows that's cutting through yards. et cetera, and Chief McCain has to deal with that part, and Aaron gets the tore down sign, so hopefully just a little bit more coordination with NDOT and the county. Because it was one of those that, whoa, a lot of it wasn't expected, so if we could do that long term, I'm just putting out a suggestion that I worked with NDOT and I know how all that goes. I've never worked with a port on their detours, so I don't know how they get it out to the department heads such as Aaron, Brooke, and Kent, but I don't know that it was a super job during this season.
I think I heard that NDOT recently split their maintenance from their construction, so they had two different divisions that,
Okay.
before it was just one, so they had to coordinate their own work, which they weren't used to doing.
Yeah. We worked through it. It's been a tricky summer.
I know what threw us the real curveball, I think, at the beginning was when the railroad closed theirs
Yes.
right at the last minute. We had, what, 10 days notice or something like
Yeah.
that. And that's always a big thorn on our side and all because of, you know, the big trucks, they always are trying to sneak, as I say, they're trying to sneak through and trying to find. And the gal that we worked with on it, for the company that had, we had some good give and take with her, and we kind of got it set up how it was, but you're still going to have people that aren't paying attention to signs. I think that first day I wrote 18 tickets or something like that for disregarding. But the word got out and it slowed way down and all, but we still had some and all, but we dealt with it as far as that. But I think that was the biggest problem, was
Yeah.
when the railroad said, hey, we're going to have an emergency shutdown, we're going to do it whether you guys like it or not.
Right,
So,
right at graduation.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't negotiate with railroad.
No, they're their own.
They're willing to do what they want when they want. So.
Yeah, but they were good. The NDOT was good when we had the graduation. They had that portable stop sign, and they extended the time on it, so it cycled longer. Which, you know, they worked with us as far as that, and also I kind of have to give them credit for that. They were understanding, and we kind of worked together. And it wasn't the best, but it was a lot better than it was.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, certainly I think we would want to involve NDOT in some of these conversations. And I can definitely sympathize with you guys, you know, kind of being on the very southern end of your port district. You know, you're a little bit far away from the home base, so to speak, right? So it can be a little bit tricky.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully as part of some of these other meetings, maybe for the long-range plan, when we do have NDOT as a stakeholder at the table, we can kind of introduce the topic of...
And Jackie's been pretty good about attending these.
Right, we can introduce the process that we need to go through to hopefully avoid repeating any of these issues in future seasons, because certainly, you know, anytime you have to close roads, it creates a lot of problems. One example I remember from Tippecanoe County is when we had the emergency shutdown of I-65, and that caused a lot of headaches for a lot of departments, as well as a lot of citizens, of course.
Guess whose detour that was? Yeah. That was 7 weeks of no sleep. With Alan Plunkett in my ear every day. I hope we don't ever have that circumstance around here, because that was an animal.
Yeah, I can definitely sympathize with what you guys are like. Okay, so that's something we'll definitely keep in mind for some future coordination with them.
Okay,
So thank you for bringing that up, Henry.
All right, if there's nothing else, I entertain a motion to adjourn,
So moved.
and we have a motion. And a second. See you next month on the,
Well, we'll reschedule, in 3 months or whatever.
Okay.
or
In
3
November.
months, yep. Not November 8th.
Not November 8th, yes. All right.
Okay. Thank you guys again for everything you do for us. It is appreciated.